we're going to discuss about anxiety. Now, how we define anxiety? Anxiety is a negative state of emotion. Anxiety is a negative state of emotion with a feeling of nervousness. Anything else? Worry, apprehensions, associated with arousal of the body, associated with arousal of body. Now, whenever there is a negative state of emotion with the reflections of nervousness, with the reflections of apprehensions, with the reflections of worry, which is associated with the arousal which is the psychophysiological activations of the body, that refers to anxiety. Now, when we talk about anxiety and try to connect with the sports performance, how it influences the athlete's performance, we need to understand different theories. And to have a better understanding of the theories, let's try to understand what are the different types of anxiety. If we try to classify anxiety, it's very interesting. Anxiety can be the trait anxiety, or it can be the state anxiety. When we talk about the trait anxiety, trait refers to acquired behavior with predispositions. That is acquired behavior. Sometimes we tend to behave something, it's a trait. But whereas when we talk about the state anxiety, it is negative emotions due to condition, situation or environment. It is not a required behavior, but due to certain conditions, due to certain situations, when there is a development of the emotional state of arousal, we call it as a state anxiety. State anxiety. Whereas in various situations you find that there is a acquired behavior or you already perceive it as a negative. So in that case you call it as it's a trait anxiety. But this is not the only classification. Anxiety can be cognitive anxiety and somatic anxiety. Anything related to the thoughts refers to the cognitive anxiety. You think it is very challenging, threatening, it's defeating. It's cognitive anxiety, which creates a negative state of emotion. Whereas, when there is a physiological reactions and actions, like increase in the pulse rate, increase in the breathing rate, increase in the heart rate, sweating, rise in the body temperature, due to the negative state of mind, due to the anxiety, due to the threatening state, due to the nervousness state, due to the worrying state, due to the apprehensive state of mind, creating an arousal. That refers to the somatic anxiety. So, if you just see at this picture. When an individual, an athlete may be having a cognitive state anxiety, On the other hand, the athlete may have cognitive trait anxiety. On one side, the athlete may have somatic trait anxiety. On the other hand, the athlete may have somatic state anxiety. Now, this is something very interesting. It's not that an individual is only having a trait anxiety, or the athlete is having only the state anxiety, or the athlete is having only the somatic and the cognitive anxiety. It will always be a combination of it. So it's important to understand what is that negative state, why is that, which type of negative state of emotion it is. Is it cognitive state anxiety? Cognitive state anxiety means? Yes, the thought process. The thought process due to a specific situation or condition. It may be about your negative feeling which you're thinking about because you have only one last attempt to finish it off. If you don't do, you fail. That negative state of emotion will be as a cognitive state. But if there is a predisposed behavior, if there is an acquired behavior, you always have that. On certain situation, it is fixed that you will always have that thought process of negative state of mind. So that will become the cognitive trait anxiety, because that's a trait of having a negative thought process on certain condition, on every time. It doesn't change. But along with that thought process, you may also have the somatic state anxiety, wherein due to a particular situation, your heart rate, your breathing rate, your respiratory rate, or the body temperature, or your sweat, and various other physiological changes happens due to that negative state of emotion on a particular situation. You may be having a very tough challenge in front of you, a tough competitor ahead of you. You may be, it happens in sports. If you take the example of shooters and archers, an excellent shooter, when he finds that his initial performance was not good, or his competitor have done much better, and he have only a few chances left, there may be a condition of either a cognitive state anxiety or a somatic state anxiety.
The heartbeat goes up.
Yeah, the tremor may increase. The moment the tremor increases, his accuracy influences. Or the moment his thought process changes, his performance may change, his concentration, his focus may change. So both cognitive state anxiety as well as the somatic state anxiety influences, and that's interesting when we discuss about the theories later on in the next session.
I hope you understood the topic of anxiety, and you'll be able to correlate with sports performance in a more effective way. In the next topic, we'll come with a new area, new aspect of sports psychology. Thank you.